What's going on, everybody? Today we're talking about a new wizard build maximizing mobility as well as single target damage. Gonna go over the set items, potential set items, legendary items, as well as skills, and showcase the build for you in a dungeon run. Let's get into it. All right, so diving into the skills, first off, we have Ray of Frost, Lightning Nova, Arcane Torrent, Teleport, and Magic Missile. Now, as I said, we're optimizing mobility and damage here so that we can get maximum efficiency when farming dungeons and open world content. So this build in particular is especially good against those heavy elite monsters, those yellows, those oranges, or boss monsters. So this is really, really nice for dungeons. Now, what are the legendary items we are running today? We're running Mask of Illusions. Now, this one can be replaced with another item that will give you damage towards your teleport, giving that lightning field. I think it's called Land's Resonant Wisdom. But this one's going to give you a little bit of that survivability and really the only thing that will. So I do like to run this, especially when you're running it through a bunch of monsters. Then we're going to have Waking Invocation. This is key for this build because it's going to allow us to cast Ray of Frost while allowing us to also channel Arcane Torrent. This is going to drop an illusion that casts Ray of Frost for us. Very, very important. Then we have Rime Mantle. This will help us clear through a lot of the trash monsters going through the dungeon. It'll drop your Ray of Frost. It'll deal some extra bonus when you kill people, and it'll just get you through the dungeon and trash monsters much, much faster. Then we have 99 Wild Arcana. This is going to give us a little bit of extra damage for our Arcane Torrent, which is the key single target damage skill. And along with that, the aimless one, this is going to give our Arcane Torrent a little bit of extra damage, as well as making it so that we don't have to target it, but it'll hit everyone randomly around us. So this is really, really only good, the Arcane Torrent that is, when we're specifically focusing down a single target, which is why it's good for bosses, and specifically taking down elites when there's not a lot of enemies around us. Then we're gonna run the Siphon, pretty simply for extra movement speed, allowing us to get through the dungeon quicker and move around much faster. Now, this is a little bit of a strange build, and people might wonder, well, why are we running all these skills in combination? The basic combo is using your Lightning Nova as well as your Teleport to just jump around and move around. And then when we get to the boss fights, we pop Lightning Nova, drop the Ray of Frost, and then literally sit there and channel our Arcane Torrent the entire duration. Now, as I go through and showcase the build, I will mention a couple of replacement skills that you can run during here, but just to give you a quick overview, Meteor might be an option, something like running Ice Crystal could even be an option, Scorch, just things that you can literally cast and run while you're going through the dungeon. Don't want to run double channel because you can't channel two skills at once, but overall, that's going to be the build. There's a couple of set items that I recommend. Something like a 4-piece Vithu set is actually really, really nice for extra attack speed. And I'll probably have a dedicated video showcasing some of the power of these set items. But I like 4-piece Vithus. I like 2/4/6-piece Grace of the Flagellant. Those are all really, really solid. I like Isatar 2-piece for the extra movement speed. Even a 2-piece Vithus for extra length of movement speed duration during Lightning Nova. All are very, very good options. Definitely recommend a 4-piece Grace, 4-piece Vithus, something along those lines, like 4-piece Vithus plus 2-piece Grace, or 2-piece Vithus, or 2-piece Isatar plus 4-piece Grace, 4-piece Vithus, things like that. Just comboing with the 4-piece Vithus or 4-piece Grace with a 2-piece set of some other variation. Or if you just want to go all in on a Grace 6-piece set, I don't really recommend the 4-piece Vithus, simply for the fact that, well, yes, you're going to get some value out of it. However, the life drain isn't impactful, super impactful rather, in open world or dungeon farming. So I kind of ignore that 6-piece set. All that being said, we're going to jump into a dungeon run and showcase the build for you here. So heading into a Pit of Anguish run here, this is just going to be a showcase of the build in a live dungeon scenario. We're running the Ray of Frost, the Arcane Torrent, as well as Lightning Nova and Teleport. Now, it's important to note that if you are running a dungeon without as much distance between you and the bosses and all the fights, then you will get less value out of Teleport and Lightning Nova. Pit of Anguish is one of those where you're going to get maximum value because you're constantly running from area to area and you're trying to get some DPS out. So this is an exceptional place to use these movement abilities. especially it allows you to keep up with your Crusaders. And for some reason, this dungeon like causes you to stop moving every single time. There's a little text box in the beginning, but it allows you to keep up with your Crusaders, joining into the next boss fight. And then, of course, we're running that clone that launches a Ray of Frost for us for a very specific reason, and that is it allows us to channel our Arcane Torrent while we're able to also use our Ray of Frost. Because I've seen a lot of people use double channel as a wizard in a lot of these dungeons, and I think that's usually a mistake. And the reason for that is you can't use both of your channels at the same time. And so by the time the boss dies, you can actually just jump over and use one channel, and then that's it. And then the boss dies, and then you basically have a skill that's completely worthless in terms of the entire dungeon. You may get some value from clearing some of the ads, but generally you can usually one-shot the ads if you're in a decent group. And so this doesn't really apply there. And again, I'll showcase this right here. We're gonna pop the Lightning Nova and the Ray of Frost, and then drop our Arcane Torrent just purely into the boss, and boom, it's dead pretty much right as my Arcane Torrent channeling duration is completely over, and it's gonna reset by the time we get to the next boss. And so this is literally just go to a boss, drop all your skills, and then kill the boss, move on to the next boss using Lightning Nova and teleport to keep up with all your party members. And then it's really, really quick, really, really nice DPS. There really isn't any other way to get more single target DPS than Arcane Torrent. And then the combination of Ray of Frost allows you to use that skill before you go into it, and it gets you a lot of DPS. As I already went over and I showcased the damage of the skills, Ray of Frost actually does a lot of damage if you get the full channel duration out. It's also really nice for some scenarios where you can drop it and then clear out a certain wave of enemies, and then start basicking too. Because even if you don't have Arcane Torrent available, you can also just continuously drop your basics, which will help your damage as well. Now, there's some scenarios where you might want a different skill instead of Lightning Nova or Teleport. You could replace these two because these are your movement abilities. And honestly, Teleport is good just to avoid some of the damage, especially if you're someone who's a little bit squishier, where you may not be able to survive a hit and you may have lower combat rating, or maybe you have just lower health. Your Teleport will help you keep yourself alive. So that one you might want to keep on. But Lightning Nova really is just there for the movement speed and the occasional ad clearing. And so what you're going to want to do is take out Lightning Nova and drop in Meteor, perhaps. Will give you a little bit more damage, single target damage, and just overall damage in that scenario than running Lightning Nova, which is really, really impactful for just movement. So that is one replacement you can make. And of course, this all hinges on you having a decent group. Obviously, if you're in a group where you're the only DPS and you're a 1v 4 or 1v boss where your whole teammates just keeps dying, etc., you have low combat rating on your team, then you may need to run a different build. This is the highest DPS for the amount of time that it takes for a solid group to go ahead and kill a boss, because again, if that boss takes 15-20 seconds to get from phase to phase, you'll get more DPS out of something like potentially a Firestorm build, because the Arcane Torrent has to re-up its channel and you're not going to get the full DPS from it. So that is something to keep in mind, and all of those things are what we have to think about when we're creating these builds. We'll go ahead and just see what loot we get from this dungeon, because I'm kind of excited. I don't know about you all, but I've been really enjoying the bonus chests, and I'm not sure if I'm going to post a video about it before this one comes out or after this one comes out, but I really just wanted to talk about the loot from all the chests I'm getting, so I'm recording them all, and we'll have to see what I get from about 100 bonus chests at the end from the 4-player dungeons, and see if they are actually bonus loot or if it's just kind of tricking us and giving us half part of the loot in the boss and half part of the loot in the bonus chest. But we got hands here, which is nice, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully you enjoyed the build, and it is something that I've been running for every single one of my dungeon runs so far. Again, Temple of Damari and something like that, I might exchange Lightning Nova, but I still love Teleport no matter what. Hopefully that helps you, and hopefully you enjoy using this build. And this is pretty much going to be the last wizard build before I swap over to Necromancer, because I did put out that poll and you all voted for Necromancer. So that's going to be coming up soon, and I'll see you then.